Aha. Hi, my name's Aaron Short. Welcome to my YouTube channel. Today is Monday, May the 15th, and I've got the AC on today. Let me know if you can hear it, please. Let me know if you can hear it too much to disturb the speech. If not, I'm going to leave it on. Thought I'd start with something different today. I got the guitar back from all the modifications that I've done to it, so I thought I'd start by showing that to you on the other camera here. I'm going to play a little bit. I can turn my microphone off and play a little bit while people are arriving, since I started a few minutes late, and you'll see what the guitar sounds like. And I'll take you through the modifications that I had done to it and let you know what else I have to get finished on it. Let me start with that now. Don't judge me, I just woke up. Not really. All right, I really like this. So the thing about this guitar is I had to do so much to it to make it how I want, and I think that's really annoying these days. I mean, it's a good thing. It might put me off buying any more guitars because I've done so much work to this. And one of the problems that you get when doing work to a guitar is that you're going to lose a lot of value on the guitar as well. All right, so let me show you what I've changed on this. And I do find it frustrating that I had to make these changes, and I think most people would have to make these changes as well. So what I did was, these are the Highwood saddles. So usually, these are vintage style saddles. And usually, you're going to get these, the screws here sticking out, where you adjust to raise and lower them to change the height of the strings, to adjust the action. And they tend to stick out, and they tend to stick into your hand if you rest your hand on the bridge, which I and most people do. That's probably bad technique as well, because you're going to make the bridge move up and down with the vibrato, because this is obviously connected here. So the good thing is those screws are now underneath and not on top. So you still feel it there, but you don't feel a screw sticking into your hand. And they also have a groove in the middle of each saddle which holds the string more in line, more in place. So these Highwood saddles are an excellent upgrade. I really recommend them to everyone who's interested, who's got a Strat style guitar or electric guitar. These are really great. Then the whole thing was shielded. So when I got this guitar, I had this about 6 months now. When I got it, the guitar was very noisy. When I took my hands off the guitar, it was buzzing a lot. And so the whole inside of this has been shielded with tape, and that made the guitar really quiet. I mean, you can hear it. If I turn it up on the neck position, there's some noise, and then there should be no noise, right? Or greatly reduced, and then some noise. Yep, and then no noise, and then some noise. But not too bad. It's actually really good. And the thing is, if you'd done that before and took your hands off the guitar, it was really buzzing like crazy, static pops all over the place. So it's been shielded. Again, why don't Fender shield that in the first place as a custom shop guitar? I don't know. Some people say it affects the tone. I would rather have the noise reduced myself. And then on the headstock, let's see if I can get this on here. I need to refocus onto the headstock. So I did add the string tree. Yes, look at that. You see that string tree? It holds 3 strings. Let me see if I can focus better. There it is. So that string tree, that was not on there. They use staggered tuners. The reason they use staggered tuners is because they say you don't need the string tree. Someone said to me, what's the string tree doing the other week? Well, the string tree is holding down those 3 strings. It's adding tension. Can you see that? It's putting more tension on the top 3 strings. The lower 3 strings already have tension. They don't need a tree. But the top 3 strings are so thin that they need the added tension. And that's adding that tension. And that wasn't on there. And I don't mind. I think it looks cool, actually. I really don't mind it. I did have to have the guitar drilled into. So all these mods are going to devalue your guitar. This is the problem when you modify a guitar. You're devaluing it straight away, even though in your opinion you're adding value. And you probably, like with this guitar, I think I have added a lot of value. But you've also devalued it in the eyes of a buyer, and they'll use that against you to get the price down. So bear that in mind when you do this. It's a very tough decision to make. But I think, again, I think that should have been on there in the first place. And then these are new tuners as well. So I've basically changed everything. The tuners are locking vintage style. So you just go in the hole as usual, tighten it, it grips it. You only need a special tool to undo these gaps in the top if you break a string. If you don't break a string, then you're fine. Very easy to use. And the guitar is much more stable. Before I did all this, the guitar would not stay in tune at all. Even without using the whammy bar, it was not staying in tune at all. And now it is staying in tune really, really well. The neck is still moving, and I've had to adjust it a few times. But it seems okay now. And I'm going to take it for one more look on Wednesday with my guy, just to see if we can make it even better. I think it's temperamental. Don't know why. A lot of guitars seem to be moving a lot at the moment with the humidity. So I've had to put more neck relief in it. I need quite a bit of neck relief anyway for the way that I play so heavy-handedly. So it's about done. The only thing I would change on this guitar is the neck. It's got this walnut strip, which is rough. I love that they've sanded it, but the wood grain on this one is rough. I'm considering having that refinished. So same finish, but just to try to get that all smooth. And the guitar is under £7. So what I'm trying to do, if you hadn't worked it out already, is I'm trying to make this guitar like a one guitar does all kind of thing. Because it's pretty cool. It also has a blender here. So if you have the regular tone on the bridge pickup, you have the regular tone. All right? But this one dials in the neck pickup. And the new guitars do this from the American Standard line, American Pro line. But it just blends it in at full. So on this one, you can actually blend in as much as you want. So this is regular. And then that's blended in the neck pickup completely. So it sounds a bit like a Telecaster, right? That's that kind of telly sound. If I blend it all back to normal, so really versatile with the tone and the blend. You can get loads of different sounds, and it kind of makes up for the fact that it's a single coil. I think you can take the top end off, you can add in some of this pickup, and you get a much heavier sound. Or your traditional kind of thin sound. And all the pickups sound really nice. Danielle, this is from Sweetwater. It's a GT11 custom shop, and the only reason I got it, I haven't shown it on the channel yet, because I didn't know if I was going to keep it. I may have sold it. And you know, the thing about this guitar is that I got it because it was so light. I've had it for a while. It's been around, but I haven't done any videos on it. Again, I didn't know if I was going to keep it. And the thing is, it's under £7, and that's what I was looking for, a really light guitar. And it's under £7, and that's what I really wanted. I wanted a custom shop under £7, relict. I like how it looks. I was just, I guess the point of me showing this is that I've been talking a lot lately about modifying guitars, just trying to focus a bit better. And I really think the modifications, I've got a few more. If I was going to make this my perfect dual guitar, I'd probably install the Illich noise cancelling system and make it completely silent, and have the neck refinished so it's completely smooth, no roughness from the skunk stripe at all. But I guess my point earlier was it's frustrating that you have to do that to a guitar. But then again, if you're happy with it, why not? So the mods I've done on this so far already cost more than the Harley Benton guitar that I sold a while ago. That was a really nice guitar. Remember that one that was about $350? Stainless steel fret. This doesn't have stainless steel frets. Stainless steel frets, roasted neck like this, locking tuners that this didn't have, a string tree that this didn't have. So I just thought it'd be interesting to talk about. You can modify a guitar and spend more than buying a new guitar, which has those things and already sounds great. But if you want the name on the headstock, if you want certain things, like if you want a light guitar, it's so hard to find a Stratocaster under £7 these days. So if you want a guitar that's under £7 with Fender on the headstock, are you willing, I guess this is the question of the week, are you willing to find a guitar that looks and weighs and has the name on the headstock that you want, and then invest that kind of serious money in the guitar, knowing that you're devaluing the guitar while you do it? I think I am. I'm really happy with how this is going. I might just leave the neck and try to live with it. It's a big job for a small gain. And at the end of the day, the guitar is relic anyway, so I guess the neck would be a bit rough on the back, wouldn't it, if it really was an old guitar. The biggest thing, and even the noise doesn't bother me. Some people like the noise. You can hear it now. There's a slight hum in the background. But the shielding really helped that. But I could install the Illich system. That would add a little bit of weight to the guitar, and I have to add a back plate, which I don't have at the moment, which I really like. So I don't think I even need to do that. I think this guitar is done. And I've been comparing this to other guitars that I have, and none of the other guitars have such a nice feeling neck shape or such a nice sound from the pickups or such a light weight. So I'm really thinking this might be the Strat that I keep, which is why I'm showing it today. I really feel that the modifications have paid off. But I just wanted to ask people, really, would you do that? And I guess what I'm trying to say as well is it's hard to say you don't have to do that, because there's not many guitars around that have the specs that I want, and there's not many guitars around that do everything, you know. Like some of the Sir guitars have the noise system in the pickups, but they still have the vintage style bridge that hurts your hand. It's very hard to find guitars, I find, that are even light to start with. It's very hard to find the perfect guitar. And of course, the perfect guitar for me is probably not the perfect guitar for you. So I guess two questions. One, would you find a guitar you like the weight and the look of and modify it? And two is, do you like the mods that I've done? Are they all things that you think are important, or do you think that I didn't need to do those things? What they have done is they've definitely improved the tuning stability of the guitar. But just a thing to think about. Very rare is that you get a guitar out the box which is set up how you want, and with the emphasis on you, set up how you want, that sounds how you want, that has the features that you want, without doing a custom order. And then when you do a custom order, you've got to wait for that guitar to arrive. And how do you know that it's even got the things on it that you really want? All right, so let me come back to the main screen. And I might put the guitar on the screen as well. But anyway, let's go to the chat and say hi. T, how you doing, T? Nothing really on the menu, just general chit chat. Just talk about my my gear quest and take any questions. I was going to talk about the new HiFi pickup. People have been installing them this week, so let you know what people are saying. Hello, Bernard. Hello, Bedouin. Hi, Doc McFarland. So Doc McFarland has ordered a Kiesel. That's a custom shop guitar. But as I always say, and I'm not ashamed of saying it, although I sometimes am, I just want a Fender. So that's the thing. I don't want a Kiesel. But see, a Kiesel custom shop could be a good way to go. Custom is definitely a good way to go. Also, these frets are not rolled either. I was thinking about having the frets rolled, the back of the... It's just... I'm still deciding if it's worth it. Roll the frets, refinish the neck, change the saddles, change the tuners, add the string tree, have it set up. You know, where does it end? Do you do that, or do you? I don't know. I'm asking you. What do you got? You know, everyone watching the show. When you buy a guitar, what do you do? Do you modify it, or do you buy the guitar you want in the first place, or have you not got to that point yet? Are you still just buying a guitar and playing the guitar? Because I think this stuff comes later on. When I started playing the guitar, I didn't think about any of this. But the more you play the guitar, the more aware you are of certain things. Like these, I've had guitars for years with these saddles that never bugged me at all. And now, lately, I can't play a guitar with those screws sticking out. But for years, I didn't even think about it. It's like everything else in life. When you notice something, you can't unnotice it anymore. So let me know what you think. It'll be interesting to see. I really need a better light switch cover behind me, but that'll do for today. Hi from New Orleans. Good to see you, buddy. Zane is here. Good to see you, Zane. Kevin's here. Good to see you. Jimmy Mack. Good to see you, Jimmy. Sounds great. You make me feel my love. Is that what I played? Raining in Missouri. Sorry, Eric. Doc likes the Wilkinson trams. They're very comfortable. Even these ones, you still feel them. But I think these look cool because they look vintage. Why is vintage so cool on guitars? Why don't we want modern things? Lee says hi. Oh, Lee's got a new job in June. Congratulations. Hi, Rosanna. Thanks for moderating, guys. I appreciate it. It's been pretty quiet lately, but you never know on the internet. Lee has to train the people to replace him. Yeah, so it's an 11-inch radius. The radius thing really doesn't bother me at all. I just hate when guitars fret out, and that's the thing that I thought would help with that, and I think it does. On the neck, some steel wool will take the rough off, or one of those sanding sponges. Yes, but then you have to seal it, right? I was thinking about doing that, but then you have to seal the bare wood. So I don't want to mess it up. That's obviously what they've done already, but for some reason the wood that's on the stripe in the middle has not gone as smooth as the wood on the outside. So I don't know why that is. I gotta say though, it's a lot better than having the glossy neck. I don't think I'd like that at all. So I'm being a bit fussy there. Poo Ninja says cool finish. Graham says, I'm trying to move away from having an iPad at gigs and using an iPhone instead. It's more discreet. Have you found a decent mic stand mount for iPhone? No, it's really difficult, isn't it? They all suck. I see everyone using the iPhone mounts, and they're all terrible. Don't know why. I don't know how people are okay with them. The one I have was from Sam Ash, and I loved it so much that I bought like 4 of them. And then gradually they're breaking. I can probably fix them with some new foam adhesives, but they're gradually breaking over time. And I don't know what I'll do when I run out, because the ones I use are light and easy to use, and I really like it. It's just a clamp, you know. You just pull it apart and it clamps on, and it's got foam on it so it doesn't damage anything, and it's really light. Most of the ones that I see now are really heavy, bulky, hard to use. And by the way, I don't know if it is more discreet, because an iPhone Max, the big iPhone, is not that much smaller than an iPad mini, to be fair. Maybe an iPad at waist height on the mic stand is more inconspicuous than a phone at eye level. Because I do think my phone looks ugly. I use it all the time. It does look ugly. It's a big phone and it's by the side of my face. I don't like that, but I need it for what I do. So I don't really know the answer to that. I'm still looking myself, and if you find one, let me know. I don't know why companies don't look into this. For me, something like an iPad holder is so important. It's a really important thing to have, right? So I don't know why more companies don't look into that. I'm just going to add my guitar here in preview mode, see if it works. I want to have my guitar on the screen today, I think. I want to cover the light switch. Get those questions in. Let me know what you're thinking. Happy to talk about anything. I would like to hear about my question, about what you think about modifying guitars that you've bought. But let me know what you think about that, and let me know some other questions as well. I like the random questions. It's always fun. There we go. Well, am I out of preview mode? Publish. Yes, back to live mode. Very good. Ecamm Live is working well lately. Yeah, I want to show the guitar on the screen while I talk. Maybe not there. I'm trying to hide the light switch. That's all I'm trying to do. There we go. Okay. So yeah, I'm sorry I can't help more, Graham. I don't know what to say. Like I said, let me know what you find, because I'm still looking myself. Reverends don't need modifying. They're perfect out of the box. That may be so, but I just didn't gel with it. That's another layer. There's a layer of the technical specs of the guitar. There's a layer of what, and by the way, I've got really bad allergies lately. Not sure what's going on with me. If I look like I think I look like I've got bad allergies, right? I look a bit red too. Let me turn this color down. But my allergies are, isn't that amazing? All my life I've had no problem with allergies, and then suddenly I get hit with it. Crazy. You've got to want to play the guitar, right? This is a guitar that I want to play. The Reverend Strat was a guitar that I didn't particularly want to play, and that's the big difference. And that's something that a lot of people don't talk about. You've got to want to play the instrument that you own, right? You've got to be inspired by it. And what makes you inspired by something? I don't know. Could it be a load of rubbish? Maybe. Maybe this is all a load of rubbish and you can just play any guitar and none of that stuff matters. But it does matter to me. And this is a guitar that I want to play. I think it sounds really good too. I really do. And I did like the Fishman pickups in the Reverend, but I didn't like the way you had to charge them. You don't have to charge this. Very, very few things that go wrong with this guitar. I value that stuff. So that's the first thing you got to do. The first thing you got to do is pick the instrument you want to play. And then I guess my point then is if they don't make the instrument that you want, then what do you do? Do you heavily modify it? Do you put up with it? Or do you move to another brand? I haven't found another brand that has the things I want that sounds the way that I want anyway. That's what I thought Sir would do, and it didn't work out. So Hardtail Strat caught my eye. Fender Robert Cray standard Strat. Not sure if I could get used to the 9.5 radius. Used to guitars with 12-inch radius. Interesting. Yeah, I always think I want a hardtail too, and the main reason is because they're usually lighter. But actually, some hardtail Strats can be 7.5 pounds, where this is under 7 pounds. So it's not always the case. And then I think my personal thought lately is why not have this wiggle stick so you can use it, and if you really don't want to use it, you could lock it down, put wood like Clapton does and Mayer does. You could lock it down and get rid of this bar, and it's basically a hardtail at that point. I don't think you really need a hardtail, and then you can't ever have this. Turn this volume off. If you have a hardtail, then you can't have this. You can't have this ever, right? But with this, you can make it basically a hardtail. So I would look at the weight first if that's the reason you're looking at a hardtail. Yeah, I'm not going to work on the neck on this guitar. If I'm gonna do it, I'm gonna pay someone to do it that knows what they're doing. There used to be a guy here that worked for Sadowski Guitars who would have done that amazingly, but he moved back home. He moved back to his original home during the pandemic, unfortunately. Try a bicycle phone mount. Should attach the mic stand like a handlebar. Yeah, that's a good point. I spent many weeks looking for a good mount for an iPad and iPhone. I could not find one better than what I have, and the one I have is not made anymore, which is crazy. Use the true oil finish on the neck. Yes, I would. Again, I'm not going to do it myself. If I would have maybe someone like Sweetwater sand it and finish it. And even then, it might not feel how I want it to. Might be a complete waste of time and money. So I don't know. I've never had work done on a neck before. But, yeah. Kevin says, enjoying my new Cole Clark Angel 2. So Kevin told me he went to Gruen Guitar and he bought a Cole Clark there, which is great. Great news. Learn an EQ I like with the adjustment that can be made. Yeah, there's basically there's 3 pickups. There's 3 EQs, and the pickups obviously give you different sounds. So the undersaddle pickup gives you that immediate clear sound, and the body pickup gives you the percussive sound, which brings in some mid-range as well. They all do, the way they work usually. And the microphone brings in some presence. So the 3 pickups kind of work like bass, middle, and treble, like that, respectively, to what I just said. And then the EQ is bass, middle, and treble. So there's 2 things you can do. You could set the pickups all flat, which you should probably do to start with, or try them out one by one, see what they sound like. You could set them all flat and then dial in the EQ with the EQ on the guitar. What I do is I use the EQ to compensate for the pickup setting. So I like to have more body sensor. I have it up about 70%, like around 2 o'clock. So because when I bring that up, it adds a lot more mid-range, I cut the mid-range on the EQ. So that's the way I make it work. I also cut the bass a little bit. I think those guitars are way too bassy. I usually do a high-pass filter on the board to start with. I usually do that around 120 on mine. That's pretty high. And then I take the bass down a little bit. I take the mid down a bit more, and I might take the treble down a touch or leave it where it is. I usually have the body sensor about 2 o'clock, and I usually have the microphone on like 3 out of 10, like 30%. I don't love the microphone in those guitars. For me, those guitars are all about the body sensor pickup. They give you percussion, they give you a natural tone without being an airy microphone. And the way that microphone works in that guitar, it's not like other guitars like the Maton. It's just in the top of the, like at the side of the guitar, so it doesn't really pick up that much. It's really like that really high information. You might like that. I did once try having no body pickup and having the microphone on high, and so microphone and piezo only. It sounded really good, more like an anthem type sound. But for me, the magic is in the body pickup on that guitar. So that's how I do it. And that's actually how someone told me to do it years ago as well. Oh, by the way, this is bent too. This is bent. This usually sticks out more. For some reason they've bent it, so you can't get it past the jack. But that's kind of cool because you swing it back and it hits the jack plug, and it sits there until you need it. And also, it's so low profile. It still goes over the top here, but it's so low profile it can actually go in your guitar case with the arm on the guitar. You haven't got to take it off the guitar when you put it in your gig bag, which is nice. Let me see if it's still in tune. So the cool thing with this is, yeah, you know where it is. It might scratch your $100 cable, but you always know that it's there when you swing it back. So and if you don't want it to be there, if you want it completely out of the way, swing it the other way, and then it's not anywhere near the controls at all. Pretty cool stuff. All right. That was Kevin's question. No, I actually think that's a load of rubbish, Doc. I really hate myself for saying it's got, you know, sometimes I say it in jest. Like, I want to play a Gibson, I want to play a Martin, I want to play a Fender. I know it's stupid. You know, we have to move on. I think it's getting harder to move on because all my guitar heroes played those instruments. There's not many guitar heroes now anyway. Maybe if there was more guitar heroes doing the kind of music that I like that played other guitars, I would be more into them. I don't know. I grew up on the Beatles, Hendrix, Clapton, Mayer playing Fenders, so I've definitely bought into that. I do like the guitars as well. I wouldn't play a Martin or a Fender or a Gibson if I hated the guitar just because it says that. Like, don't get me wrong, I've sought out, like for example, I've sought out this guitar, and I've sought out a couple of good Martins. I've sought out a Gibson that I like. It's not that all these guitars are great. There's a lot of Fenders I don't like. There's a lot of Martins I don't like. There's a lot of Gibsons I don't like. There's a lot of those brands that have had a lot of QC issues lately that I've seen, that I haven't even really spoke about, that I've seen just in the wild and whatever, and on friends' guitars. So it's not easy, and that's the same with any brand, to find an instrument that you connect with. But isn't that important, that connection, and wanting to play something and having it how you want it to be? I think that's really important. And I also think it's important to throw that away and just play the instrument as well, like we did when we started playing the guitar. When we started playing the guitar, we just had a guitar and we just played it, and it was a great thing. So I do think it's a balance to be found, for sure. But I don't know the answer. That's how I feel. Hey, if you feel differently, that's great. If you like playing Reverend and they're more affordable and they have better features, that's great. That's a really great thing. And like I said, it's not that I haven't tried them. I tried the Reverend. It's a great guitar. I've tried the Yamahas. They're great guitars. I recommend them. But they're not guitars that I want to play right now. Maybe I'll change my mind, you know. But in my opinion, this guitar certainly sounds... I don't say better, but it definitely sounds more how I want. The neck feels more how I want than the Reverend did. All right. It's the same with relicking. For a while I was saying I love relicking. I'm into relicking now. But lately I've been thinking, actually, silly, isn't it? Just buy a new guitar, and if you ding it, then it's relicked. So it's it's all silly, really. It's all silly. But you have, what it comes down to, though, you do have to want to play that instrument for whatever reason that is, whether that's the brand it is, the way it looks, the way it feels, the way it sounds. And to me, the most important thing is the way it sounds. And this is a great sounding guitar, and I think that's really important. Same with the weight, you know. I love that Gibson 355, but I don't think I'd ever take it out to a gig because it's just so heavy. And I think this stuff is important too. But the real question is, what's important to you? I don't want to sit here and just send you down rabbit holes or talk, you know, sound like I'm crazy. The question is, what's important to you? Maybe none of this stuff is important to you, and that's great. That's a wonderful thing. Maybe the weight is important to you. So you can find a lightweight guitar. It really depends what you want and what's important to you. Allergies can build up over time. I'm now allergic to sycamore trees. Thankfully, there are no trees on the moon. Wow. Yeah, I don't know if that's what it is. I haven't been to a doctor or anything, but I'm guessing it's allergies. It sucks. But much better right now than it was earlier, thankfully. I've found it's been rather hit or miss regarding guitars, regardless of price paid. I agree. Expensive arch tops can be problematic. Loose, buzzy stuff, yeah. The money doesn't really mean anything, does it? It doesn't mean you're getting extra quality or inspections. It should do, but it doesn't seem to anymore. Thomas says, that's a great looking Strat. Your changes were good for you. I rarely change a guitar. I put new strings and adjusted strings and pickups to where I like it. Yeah, I agree with that. And I don't like the point of today's video was I don't like the idea of modifying a guitar. I don't agree with it. I don't think you should have to spend hundreds of dollars to get features that should really come with a guitar in the first place. I'm also highly aware that I'm sitting here being very hypocritical as well, but that's just the way it is with guitars. So I agree with that stuff. The problem is, as you learn more and more what you want, you may have to do that. Like if you want a specific brand of bridge and a specific brand of locking tuner and a specific string tree like this one from StuMac, then what are you going to do, right? You have no choice then, because no builder is going to use that stuff. You have to then do a custom order or customize your own guitar. You are right, it's desire. That is a good thing. And inside of you, where it comes from with guitars, that's what the heart wants. Reason, of course. Of course. None of this is logical. If this was a logical thing, we wouldn't be sitting here talking about it. You wouldn't even be on my stream like right now. You wouldn't watch my videos. You'd just be playing the guitar. And that's fine. That's a good thing. But I mean, some people will say you shouldn't do that stuff. You should just play the guitar. Well, that's fine too. You can do whatever you want to do. For me, it's about finding a balance, you know. It's about finding the stuff that I really like, and not perfection, that doesn't exist. So things that are good enough, that do the job, that please me, and then getting on with it, of course. Your changes aren't drastic. You did what you needed to do. No, I agree, but I did spend a lot of money on it, extra money, and I guess the only thing I did that isn't reversible is the string tree, and some people wouldn't like that. But that's tough because I wanted it on there. Graham says, I've sometimes modded pickups and tuners on cheaper guitars, but my next practical mod will be upgrading the switch and pots on my Gretsch. The guitar is brilliant, but the switch not so. Yeah, so many guitars have cheap switches, cheap components under the hood as well. You just don't know until something goes wrong. I see a lot of arch tops with business cards, stock stuff between the pickup and the pickup mounting ring. That's the other thing. A lot of people want to get the guitar and take it completely apart to make sure there's nothing like that being done to the guitar. There's even some stories of factory guitars where they've put shims in made of cards and things in the neck. I mean, does it matter if it's a good guitar? Not really, but it's not ideal, is it? Greg from Groon doing a video doing something to Tom Bugavac's back of his neck on a telly. He didn't like how sticky it was. He took steel wool over the back, nothing too much. Yeah, this has already been done. This has already had steel wool on the back of the neck of this guitar. It's kind of cool. You can see where the gloss... So they actually had gloss on the neck. There's gloss here. And then you can see where they ran the steel wool. But what happened was, and maybe some people out there know what to do in this situation... Usually this stripe down the middle is made of a rosewood, a darker wood. And this one here is made of maple. And that maple has a rough texture to it. And it's rough, just on that stripe. So if anyone's dealt with that, let me know. It just seems to be a weird choice on this guitar. So again, if I did a custom guitar, I wouldn't do that. I'd do a rosewood or no skunk stripe. I don't really want one there at all. So, and then you can just use steel wool, like you said. Yep. Thomas Moore, I never use the bar and don't put them in. I don't either. I would never use this bar at a gig, but I kind of like having it, and I find myself using it sometimes, you know. Of course, you need it for yeah, I kind of like having it. I don't know. I agree, though. In practice, I never use it, but I think it's cool to have it there for certain things. Did you send the Guild Paris? I did. Do you want to hear the story of that? Kind of boring story, but I can tell you if you want. What do you think of the custom shops from Gibson and Fender? Are they that much better? Let's talk about it. Let me get rid of the guitar. Give me 10 seconds, put this guitar back, and we'll talk about it. Get 1 second. Talk amongst yourselves.
I need a holiday is what she said to me. I need to get away from you. And as I watched her lying next to me, I wished for a holiday too. Home is where...
Okay. Ooh. Okay, that's better. So I'll get some water and put the guitar back. So, custom shop guitars. Well, I mean, what is the point of a custom shop guitar? Isn't the point of a custom shop guitar to have those features that you want to choose? But so often the custom shops that we buy are from websites that have already made those custom guitars, right? They've already chosen what they want to have on the guitar. So that can be hit and miss. It's interesting with guitars. Some of the standard Fenders now are great, like the American Pro 2, the Ultras. They have rolled fretboard edges where this doesn't. This is a custom shop. Custom shops cost more than standard guitars, and sometimes they don't have the features that standard guitars have. But, of course, you have that kudos of the name. It's made by the custom shop. Supposedly, that's better than a factory-made guitar. I don't think that's true in any more way that a Mexican guitar can't be as good as a USA guitar. Why not? They're basically the same parts, right? So, it's more about getting those features that you wouldn't get on a standard guitar, like this one. You wouldn't get that neck shape on the standard series guitars. So I don't think they are better. I think you might just find things in them that you wouldn't find in the run-of-the-mill guitars, and that goes for all of the brands. Supposedly they have more attention to detail, but if you remember the Martin SC Custom that was like $7,500, $8,000 had some very sloppy work around the binding. That's why I returned it. So there we go. That was not good attention to detail. And I've seen some standard series guitars that did have more attention to detail. So I don't know. And it's not like the custom guitars are handmade by one person. That's a master built. A master built Strat would be nice, but because it's made by just one person, that's going to be $8,000, $9,000, $10,000 and a long waiting time. The biggest problem for me with the custom guitars is waiting for the guitar to be made. That's a long time to wait. So Dr. McFarland is going to say, well, just buy a what's it called? Whatever he said earlier. Because then you can choose the things that you want and it takes a month to build it. Fair enough. Why, maybe I'll try that one day. Okay. By the way, I was upset with that competition that I showed you last week from, was it Emerald? Was it Emerald Guitars? I was in the car and I got an email. You're a winner. And I freaked out. I've won a guitar. Wow. And I opened the email. You didn't win the main prize, which was a guitar you designed, but you did win a secondary prize. I thought, okay, great. What's that going to be then? The strings? No, it's a coupon to get money off your order. So now you've made your dream guitar. We now invite you to come on the website and buy it with our coupon. So technically it is a prize. But is it really? Isn't that just a way to get me to order another guitar from their website? I don't know. That didn't sit very well with me because I was very disappointed. I thought I'd won. I thought finally I've won one of these competitions that I've entered, and I didn't. So just wanted to get that off my chest. So I think customs are great. I don't think they're necessarily better. It really comes down partly to that thing I said earlier about, oh, I've got a custom guitar. Wow, you know, it's made by the custom shop. Wow. Is that good? I mean, not always, right? It doesn't really. It's whatever you want it to be. If that means something to you, it adds value. If it doesn't mean something to you, it doesn't add value. Some customs can have issues. Some factory guitars can have issues. Lots of guitars that I've seen in the last few years have had issues, from minor issues to fairly major issues. I'd say more so than guitars I've seen that have been just perfect out of the box. Of course, this is wood we're talking about. We're not talking about an Apple iPhone where it's made of electronic part and put into a box and vacuum sealed. We're talking about a partially handmade instrument from these companies, which is at least put through the hands of people when they're packing them, whatever, and it's wood and it can get damaged and necks can move, and that can take you on to the conversation of why not use carbon fiber for guitars and blah, blah, blah. And that's the whole story of my YouTube channel there, done in 5 minutes. So you know what I'm saying. I like the wood grain and sunburst finish. Yes, me too. That's why I got it. I like the look and I like the weight. And I thought anything else could be changed after that. And that's why I got it. But it's interesting. I almost just got rid of it immediately because the action was horrible. And then I got the action fixed and I was going to get rid of it because of all the problems with the tuning. And then I thought, okay, I'm going to modify, and now it's staying in tune. And now it's quite, it can be a commitment. That's another angle to what I'm saying in today's stream. Should you commit to a guitar and make it work for you over time and grow into it and accept its flaws and enjoy it for what it is? Or should you just immediately sell it and just buy something else? Well, I think we know the answer to that. But again, I invite you to tell me what you think in the chat. T says, if you're planning on keeping the guitar, modify it. If you know way deep down you'll move on after a couple of years, leave it as it is and continue to search for your Wednesday guitar. No, I think I am going to keep it. Yeah. I tell you what, if the neck was smoother, I would keep it 100%. It just seems a hassle to me to fix the neck, although it can be done. And, you know, I should just try that. Rather than just buying and selling and buying and selling, I should try to make the guitar that I like how I want it to be and just stick with it. I think that's the best way to do it. It's just it's also hard to find people to do jobs on guitars where you're satisfied with the job that they do as well. And I am just genuinely surprised that Fender didn't make that smooth at the factory. It's kind of a weird thing, but some people would say it's weird that it's relic, so who knows, right? Have you tried the new Saturn D18 and D28 Martins? I have not, but I've heard people talk about them. And I think it was Kevin who tried one, who told me that he felt that the Saturn guitar sounded better, in commas, than the regular guitar. And I would believe that because the finish on an acoustic guitar is going to hold in some of the sound, right? It's also going to look better. I mean, if this isn't a particularly great picture here over on Sweetwater. This is a stock picture, but I don't like how that looks. And that's like I was saying earlier. It's important to like the... Oh, sorry. I was just like... I thought that was the standard series, $2,800. That's the Saturn one. Because the D28. Yeah, I don't like how that looks. So the thing is, I would love to try one back to back to see how the sound is. Maybe it does sound more open and you might prefer that, but the look of a guitar is important to me as well. And I don't personally like how that looks in that picture anyway. So I'd have to try one. Let's look at the yellow ones, as I say. So there's none in stock right now over on Sweetwater. I did play a Streetmaster at Groons also, Kevin. As you went to Groons, I did play a Streetmaster there, and I thought that was one of the best sounding guitars in the store, and that was a satin finished guitar, and also more affordable than these as well, which is interesting. That was a really great sounding guitar. But I don't know, for me, the whole thing with the standard series, I like the gloss, I like the dark wood on the neck. I've noticed lately that some of these Martin guitars on Sweetwater don't have the streaky ebony as much as they used to. Does that mean they've gone back to staining them? Or does that mean that they have simply found wood that's more uniformed? I don't know. Check this out. I'll prove my point. You see there is a slight streak in the middle of that neck that you can see. Right there. There is one. But it's nowhere near what it used to be like. So I don't believe that's stained. Although it does look very dark. But there is definitely a slight light patch in the middle. But nothing like what we were seeing a few weeks ago, when the necks were really super streaky. I'm going to see if I can find some examples for you. I think this stuff is quite fascinating. I know it's very sad, but I do think it's quite fascinating. Let's take a look at this D18 here. You see, look at that neck. Okay, I know you conspiracy people can stop right now. Okay, I know there's... We should do a competition. Who can think the best conspiracy for the wood color of a Martin guitar neck? But you got to admit, that is a nice piece of wood. So now, here's the thing, and I can say that because I'm the sound hole sniffer. And you can get your shirt below. Thanks for supporting my channel. So, the thing about this is the kind of geeky question that I lay and think about at night. Has that been stained like they used to when they had the lovely uniform black fretboards? Or is that just a very nice piece of, and this is subjective. You might say to me, I like the streaks, get lost there, and I get it. That's fine. This is just my opinion. I like the look of that. So is that dyed and stained, or is that just a uniform piece of, or whatever word you want to use, of ebony fretboard? Now, what I would do if I was here right now and had this guitar, I would get a wet piece of towel and rub it lightly on the fretboard. And if the black color comes off on the paper, that means they've stained the board. So I don't know. If I was at Sweetwater right now, I would do that experiment because I want to know. And I'm pretty sure that Martin or dealers wouldn't tell me the answer to that question. But look at that. You can see a sort of streaking in it. I think that is natural. But it's just really nice looking wood. And again, that's subjective. Okay, leave me alone. I like it. They all have it, you see. I can't actually see one on here with a streaky ebony fingerboard. Let's look at some of these HD 28s. Look, there is some streaking there. You can see it, but it's subtle. Some of the fretboards we were seeing a few months ago were really streaky. I guess that's when they didn't have, like this, I guess they didn't have any wood then, and they had to use that, and now I guess they've got a load more in or something like that. You see, look at that. Most of the boards until recently have been like this, which you either love or hate, or somewhere in between. I find on forums, most of the boards have not had that dark uniform look to them like this. Look, I cannot find one on here with that kind of look that we saw a few weeks ago. I would love to know what the deal is. And I think they look great. I really do. And I like the gloss finish as well. I don't really have an interest in a satin finish guitar, although my Cole Clark is satin finished. And also I would like to try the satin finish Martin, but they're not like, I'm not getting a call to buy one to try, if you know what I'm saying. So there we go. I cannot see a fretboard on here. I mean, there's a Road Series with a kind of weird looking top. Not sure what that's about. That's a skunk stripe for you. Again, you might like that. That's all. It's all good. Here's one. Finally, I find one. Here we go. Look. So that's what I'm talking about. That edge of that fretboard there. Still not as crazy as some of the ones that we were seeing a few weeks ago. But most of these guitars, I'd say 9 out of 10 so far, I've had the uniform looking fretboard. Look at this one. Here's another one. Oh, that's the guitar I was talking about earlier, the smoke guitar. There we go. There's a mark on there. There's one mark on there. So seems to me they're still using streaky ebony, but they've got some pieces that are not as streaky as they were. Maybe that's just a phase they went through. Interesting. And I do like the idea of not having stain on the guitar in the long term. This is the guitar that I tried at Groon years ago, or a year ago. This is really light. Look, under 4 pounds. That's really super light. And it's mahogany and it's satin. And yeah, I don't love the look of it as much as I would with a gloss finish. But that was a great sounding guitar because it was so light and resonant and loud. So if you're looking for one of these satin finish Martins, I'd actually recommend you check out the DSS 17 Whiskey Sunset first. I like the finish. I like the sound of them. And they're 1800, where the D28 is 2800, which I still think is a lot of money for a standard series guitar with no finish on it, personally. All right, let's come back here. Rant over, move on. Thank you, buddy. Is this the Ultra you ordered? No, I did order the Ultra, and the S1 switch was all messed up, so I've given up on the idea of an Ultra Strat. And I also realized that I do like this guitar. So I had this guitar modified. I ordered the Ultra. The Ultra arrived. It had the S1 switch, was cutting out all the pickups. There's a problem with the wiring. So I just said, look, I don't want to deal with that. If that goes wrong at a gig, it could ruin my gig. So I just returned it. And I think I've decided to just stick with this one. I'm trying to hone into a few guitars, as I keep saying the last few weeks. So This is a light. First of all, none of those Ultras are as light as this. They're all a pound heavier. This is a light guitar. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to continue on this this quest that I've been on lately, this mission of modifying this guitar until I'm completely happy with it. And I think then I'll have put so much time and energy into it, I won't want to sell it. Well, A, I won't dare sell it because I'll lose so much money on it from doing that. And B, I'll have spent so much time making it just how I want that there won't be another guitar out there that does what I want. It won't be a Fender. It won't be under £7. It won't be a custom shop. It won't have locking tuners. It won't have the new saddles. It won't have been set up 3 times. It won't have had blah, 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 blah. So at that point, I'm going to have a guitar that's very hard to find. One thing that really helps me these days, like when I'm looking at Fender Strats on Sweetwater, is that they list the weight of the guitar. And most of the guitars are super heavy. So I'm not even interested. I don't want a Strat that's over £7.5. I'm not interested at all. I really want one always to be under £7. So that helps me with my addiction, you know, because it cuts off most of the instruments right now, even the high-end stuff. T says, have you seen the Taylor Catch 23? I have not. Let's check it out together. Thanks for letting me know. I've not even heard of this. I was going to talk about the pickup today as well. I'm going to do that because I put it in the title of the video. That'll be my last topic. So the Taylor Catch 23, I don't know what that is. Oh, they're customs at Alamo Music Center. Catch. Oh, there was one on here. A Catch. The Catch is starting a new tradition. Unique one-off guitars with only the finest cuts. Okay. So they're basically like customs. So let's go to Alamo. Because I haven't been to Alamo Music for a while. Hopefully there's no music going to play on there. And let's look up Taylor Catch. I guess they're not on the website yet. So I haven't seen them. But they obviously are custom shop orders from stores, a bit like the way Martin do the custom expert, where the best dealers have the custom expert models in stock. So yes, I don't know. I won't look at that now because I can't find it, but I'll check them out later. You need that bar for Chet Atkins and Merle Travis. Yes. Again, I completely agree. I never. If I was at a gig, I wouldn't even put it in the guitar. Although now I can leave it in the guitar, I probably would, because with those bars you have to pull them out to put it in the case. But as that bar's been bent, and by the way, you can bend your bar as well. You don't have to get it done by Fender, the Fender bender I call it. No, but the bar. I never even thought of that. Most bars on guitars like that will stick out and you have to take them off to put it in the case. That bar, I don't know if it's been bent at the factory or what the deal is, but it means you can put it in the case with the bar on the guitar, and therefore, if I pulled it out, I would leave it on the guitar. So yeah, I'm more likely to use the bar now they've done that, which is cool. You want to hear the story of the guitar. It's very boring. Had it up for sale for ages, dropped the price. It cost me about $1,500. This is the Reverend that I sold. Cost me about $1,500 2 years ago. They're now discontinued. It was basically mint condition, bit of wear on it from storage, leaving it out of the case. Hadn't really cleaned it up that too much, but you know, pretty much mint and as new. Used a couple of gigs. No interest at all. Lowered the price as low as $800 that I thought was a total steal. Even mentioned it on this live stream a few times. Still no interest at all. And that's when my thoughts come on some brands are not good for reselling guitars. I also think you probably shouldn't be reselling guitars because you're always going to pretty much lose money on them. But particularly with some brands, and here's the proof. Here's the proof. So I was almost going to take it into Guitar Center and just knowing they'd give me like $500 for it, but just give me the money on the floor. And then I got an email from a store in New York, wanted to buy it. I ended up getting around $800. So I took it, and that was through Reverb. So I had the insurance on the shipping. I like Reverb. It's saved me a few times lately. And it's gone. But yeah, I lost horrible money I lost on that guitar. But the deal is done. The deed is done. You ordered a number of guitars from Sweetwater. They do a good job checking fret spray. So the thing about me and Sweetwater is, to be completely honest, they do this inspection, and sometimes the inspection, well, no, the inspection is done, but they don't do a setup. When they do the inspection, they basically check there's 6 strings on the guitar, the tuners work, the knobs work, there's no dents or bangs in the guitar. You know, they basically look it over and just check it's as it should be from the factory. If you want to set up, you have to either set it up yourself or pay them or someone else to set it up, and that's fair enough. Some smaller dealers will do setups, and they do them very well. But I like Sweetwater's easy return exchange policy. I like the way they do business. I like that I've been a customer for 10 years, so I always try to shop with them as much as I possibly can. I just find everything a lot easier with them. But having said that, I've had now, in the last 12 months, 2 guitars with bad electronics. But I don't know if that's them. I don't think that's them. I think that's probably the shipping. I think that's probably when the guitar, it takes like 2 days to arrive. I think that's probably banging around in a truck. Because most electronic issues are from that. The guitar rattling and being bumped around in a car, and a wire simply comes loose, right? So that's the problem with ordering online. You never really know. You don't know if you're going to like the guitar. You don't know if there's going to be an issue, because no matter how many times the company looks it over, it could have a problem in transit. I mean, these guitars are still wires and electronics that can get knocked around, right? They're not digital. When you buy a digital pedal, it'll probably arrive just fine. Not always, but usually. But guitars can be more finicky. So I've had some problems with them, but they've been great both times. They've just taken them back. They've offered to fix them, pay to have them fixed, or just take them back. So I just ship them back. That's all done. But yes, that is the problem with ordering online. And while I only want to order with someone like Sweetwater, where I know they'll just say, okay, here's a label, send it back. Sorry for that. Things happen. That's the downside of ordering online, and that's why you need an easy return policy for sure. But fret spray, I've never had a guitar with fret spray or anything. I've had minor issues that most people wouldn't care about, but I do because I have a YouTube channel. And a couple of times they've offered me money back on the guitar, and I've taken it because a minor cosmetic issue can be paid for. You're going to get cosmetic issues with the guitar over time anyway because it's a piece of wood. I don't think personally they should be there on something brand new. Some people are okay with it. Some people are not. There's different thresholds, and you have to just decide what your threshold is. If I tell you what, if any store had my thresholds, then they wouldn't sell anything because nothing would probably get through the threshold. But that's just me. If you had to pick one acoustic shape to use forever, strictly unplugged, what would it be? That's a great question. I think dreadnoughts can be way too boomy. I really do. I don't really understand the appeal, and they can be more uncomfortable. They're boomy. The bass can sometimes overwhelm the other frequencies, making them sound a bit muddy and lost. I like the OM shape because they are more present and cutting. So I think probably an OM, or maybe a slightly larger OM, like an OM Grand. Not going to say M36. I don't seem to love those guitars, the ones I've played, but either a tight sounding dreadnought that is not too overly bassy, and that's really just the build of the guitar. A lot of guitars are inconsistent. The woods are also different. You never quite know how a guitar is going to sound until you play it yourself. But I have played a couple of Martin's dreadnoughts that have quite a tight and focused sound, and I really, really like them. And then I've played a couple of OMs with a really good sound. Again, I've played some OMs that are a bit dead sounding, a bit small sounding, and I've played some OMs that just have a really full open sound. So a full sounding, open sounding OM for being comfortable and having a clearer tone. It's not all about volume and bass for me. It's more about the way the sound cuts through the air and that punchiness. So yeah, so an OM, but it have to be the OM that I choose because guitars vary, because obviously wood varies, right? Kevin played the D18 Saturn. He said it sounded really good. Almost bought it. I like it's better than gloss. Wow. But I said to Kevin, it may just be that guitar. Maybe that guitar was a really good sounding piece of wood, and maybe there's a gloss finished D18 out there somewhere that sounds better than that guitar. All right, you don't know. And I do like the idea of a satin finish, because I do think it can let the sound through a bit more, but it also picks up a lot of the sound of your clothes, like rubbing on the wood. And on my Cole Clark, I use that to my advantage. I rub on the side of the guitar, and it makes a sound through the pickup, because the pickup is so what's the word? What's the word? Responsive? That's not the word, but you know what I'm trying to say. It hears that, even that subtle scrape, where it wouldn't hear that if it was gloss. But on a Martin, I like the whole gloss thing. I think it's nice. Aki says, I would rather have a streaky piece of wood than a stained piece of wood. Okay, I'd rather have a stained piece of wood, but I'd rather have a natural piece of wood that isn't streaky, personally. But I get what you're saying. The stain can be a problem too, especially if it comes off on your fingers. That's not good. Have you played a Rich Robinson? I have not. I don't like the idea of those printed tops and that they all look the same. I think that's kind of odd. But I'd like to see one in person to see how realistic they look. You know, I'm not against that stuff, but I can't really have an opinion or comment on it until I've seen it with my own eyes. Because, I mean, when you just say it to someone, they've printed onto the wood, it sounds a bit weird, doesn't it? But then 10 years ago, it sounded weird to say they relic the wood with a hammer. You know, like it's not done that unnaturally. Ever sold a guitar you've really regretted selling? Yes, many, many of them. So don't sell any guitars. No, just kidding. Do you use the Sweetwater Gear Exchange? I have. I bought a Tone Dextron there last year, and it was a great sale. Actually, though, the interesting thing with that is the guy worked for Sweetwater. I think for a while they were getting their reps to sell their used gear on there to like, get it moving. I do think it has potential. I think it'll be very hard for them to compete with Reverb, because Reverb have such a massive platform now. But I think it's good to have competition, and I think if anyone can do it, then Sweetwater can. And it's good. I like it. I haven't sold on it yet, but I've bought something. And Danielle says, I found my Santa Cruz OM was rather tight in lower frequencies, but really opened up after a few months of playing. I like OM size flat tops. Yeah, me too. I think OM are the original, and they're good. I thought Dark Ebony was being kept in their high-end guitars, custom shop. No, the custom shop's still using stained. I think the high-end guitars are still stained. I really don't know the exact ins and outs of that stuff. I wish someone at Martin would tell me. No one that I've ever asked there at different meetups and things has ever told me why or what or how they're doing that. So I'm not sure if they would or not, but it seems to me they're not using stain, but they're using stain on some less streak stuff in the higher end guitars still, like the 45s. When is the HiFi? Let's talk about that now, because I did say in the title that we talk about this. So I'm going to switch now to this. There's a lot of questions today. Very good stuff. So there will be a HiFi review, but let's talk about it right now. Why not? So the HiFi is a new pickup from LR Baggs, and it's really interesting. I wanted to talk about it because it's had a lot of kind of, I'd say mixed reactions. I don't know if maybe that's the right word. I don't know. But I think you get that with anything. There's a few things I want to say about it. So first of all, they started shipping from Sweetwater, and I've had some videos up on the channel if you want to check those out later on tonight. I've had a lot of videos up about the HiFi pickup. So this is the new soundboard pickup from LR Baggs. And I think the thing is, when this was announced, I think the acoustic community got very excited because we don't get many new toys when we play acoustic guitars. And whenever there's a new pickup system, it's a big deal because we don't, like with guitar processors, we get them every week. And with the acoustic guitar pickups, we get them every now and again, especially from the big brands like LR Baggs and Fishman. So there was a big stir, a big wave in the community. And I was the same. When I first heard about this thing, I was like, wow, really, I can't wait. I have to try it. But the thing is, a lot of people were saying to me, do you like it more than the Anthem? And it's not as good as the Anthem, blah, blah, blah. I don't think that was the right question. This is not meant to compete with the Anthem. This is a single source pickup. The Anthem is a dual source pickup. I think this was always meant to compete with the Element and other soundboard pickups like the Trance, the Dazzo, and the K&K. So I don't think it was fair to compare it to the Anthem. The Anthem has two pickups, and Baggs already said from the beginning they're going to make an Anthem-style version, which is the one that I think those people should be looking at, not this. Having said that, am I saying not to buy this? No, not at all. Some people like single-source pickups. Some people don't want much in the guitar. Some people like soundboard pickups. This is who this is for, those people. Those of us that already have an Anthem in our guitar, why would you have a dual source pickup with a microphone in your guitar and go and buy a single source pickup with no microphone? It doesn't really make sense. Okay, so just remember that. I'm not saying you shouldn't try it. I'm not saying you won't prefer it, but the chances are, if you think the way I do, you're going to prefer the Anthem for those reasons. And the Anthem SL weighs the same as this thing, and it has 2 pickups in there, all right? So what I've seen so far from people that have bought it, and it looks like Sweetwater sold out of their initial run, and I've seen several videos, and the funny thing with this system is that all the videos seem to sound completely different. So the video that Bags posted, the video that I posted, the video that Peghead Nation posted, the sound is so different. You can hear the qualities of the guitar, of the pickup in each guitar, but it makes me realize that the way someone plays, the way they record the pickup, whether it's direct or through an amp or in the room, the way they EQ it or don't EQ it, where they have the tone control set or don't have it set, all these things really factor in, and especially the way you play, right? The way you play, the strings, everything about it. So when you watch a pickup review, it's not just about what the person is doing, what it sounds like at face value. You've got to consider how they're playing, what they're playing, why they're playing, where they're playing, all these factors when you do that, because they all sound really, really different in the videos that I've seen. So users on the Acoustic Guitar Forum have been pretty mixed too. I think most people have said that they're initially impressed and are going to try it out more at their shows and make more recordings. So that's promising so far. And that does kind of basically tie in with my feelings as well. But I think those users that have been receiving them on the Acoustic Guitar Forum, I get the impression that they're looking for this style of pickup. They're coming from a K&K. They're coming from a Trance. They're coming from a Dazo. They're coming from those systems. And this is just an alternative to those systems for a new guitar they recently purchased. That's what I'm seeing, and that makes a lot of sense. I think, and you asked my opinion, so I'll give it to you. If you want my opinion, if you have a Cole Clark, a Maton, Martin or Gibson with a or any guitar with an Anthem in it, you don't need this yet, is my opinion. Wait for the next one that has the microphone and then change. I think personally, and this is my experience, going from a dual source system with a microphone to a single source system which is a piezo, I don't think it could ever be the same. It just doesn't. The microphone hears more information, and I use in-ear monitors, so I really hear that information. So I need that microphone in there. And this does not have a microphone in it. And then you can say, well, you can use IRs, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, well, you can, but that's more stuff to buy, more stuff to take. The Anthem SL is about $30 more, and it has the microphone in there. Some guitars can't have the undersaddle pickup, which is where I would step in and say, get this one. Because the Lyric is a microphone, that's great, but it's a bit problematic, more so than this one. This one with a single notch filter will work great in those guitars where you can't use an Anthem. So that's really what I think this is for. I think, if you want me to be really honest, my opinion on this is, LR Baggs developed this to replace the Element and then eventually replace the Anthem with the microphone version. That's what I think. And I don't expect them to come out straight away with the version with the microphone, because they want to sell and test this one to start with, right? And you don't bring out the end product straight away. You bring out this, you let users try it, you get feedback, sorry for the pun, and then you develop the next version a year or two down the line. That's the way you do it. And you start with the affordable one, because the next version might be $300, and a lot of people don't want to spend $300 on a pickup, in the same way that a lot of people don't want to modify a guitar, because why should you have to? I still stand by that, but the reality is you do have to. If you want something specific, you do have to customize your instrument. You do. And it's the same with the pickup. If you want a dual source sound that is very rich and I don't know the right word to say is, but if you want a dual source, more professional, advanced pickup, you're going to have to pay the money. You're going to have to pay the $300, all right? Excuse me. So that's how I see it. So it's a solid system. For me, it could use a pedal with a notch built in. If you have a pedal like that with you already, that's great. If you don't, it's not that the Anthem doesn't feed back. I think it feeds back not quite as fast, so I like that. I also like the fact it's got a microphone. What I'd like to see next is the HiFi Anthem or HiFi SL. I'd like to see a microphone added and also a notch control built into the controls. Maybe you see on the picture here where it says volume and tone. You see that there? It would be great if that screw in the middle, imagine this. You can remove that because it's stuck on with 3M. You can remove that from the sound hole, pull it out. So you rip off the 3M. And you can adjust that screw to take out a frequency with a notch filter between 80 and 200 hertz. And you basically do that while you're sitting in your room because you can figure out what the resonant frequency is of your acoustic guitar. So you do that, and then you put some new tape on. They give you more tape in the box. Well, hold that thought. Then you put some more tape on and re-stick it, and it's set and forget. I wish this had that already. I mean, I'm just looking at that screw now and thinking, why didn't they do that? Obviously, that screw we're looking at here, when you see on the screen, that screw you see there in the middle of the controls is obviously to hold the thing together. But if only that was a notch where, like I said, I know it's on the wrong side where you couldn't put the screwdriver in because that's where the adhesive goes. But if only that was set to off for most people. But if you had a problem with a certain feedback frequency, you could unstick it, use a little screwdriver, set it to a certain frequency, and stick it back again so it's customized to your guitar. That would be a real game changer, even for this pickup we're looking at right now, and certainly in the one that uses a microphone in the future. So I think the word for me is excited. I'm excited for this system. This, I believe, is just the beginning. We're going to see a lot more grow out of this. I think it's wrong to be negative or to say, well, that's not very advanced. It just sounds like another pickup. Okay, it does. Pickups all sound the same anyway. They all sound terrible. But I'm being mean. Pickups all sound like pickups, right? They don't sound. There's no magic you can do with a pickup. They all have those qualities to them. Some are better than others, but they all sound like pickups. So what I want to see, and the reason I say excited, this is great that we now have this type of system from LR Baggs at an accessible price that will work with guitars that won't hold the Anthem. But this is also the beginning of new systems. This could then become the microphone version. This could become the version with the notch built in, the more professional version, if you like. This could even go into other types of guitars and maybe even eventually become a 3-source system. This is just the beginning. Now, I don't have any information on this. I'm not, don't take what I'm saying as the truth. I'm just speculating and thinking to myself. That's what I think is happening. I think this is the first one, and it will please a lot of people and not some other people, and then it will grow into a whole new ecosystem for LR Baggs. That's what I think is going to happen, and that's really exciting. So, hey, if you've got an Anthem and this doesn't excite you, just wait another year or two, and something may happen, something may not. If you don't have a pickup right now, you can't use an undersaddle pickup, and you need some kind of soundboard transducer, you should certainly try this. And like I said earlier about the easy return thing, if this really doesn't work for you, you really end up not liking it, you could, I think with pickups, you can return this to Sweetwater. I think you can. You'd have to check, but I'm pretty sure you can. It's certainly very easy to remove and sell at the very least. So that is basically my HiFi review, Aki. I will put that into a formal video at some point, but that is my review. I'm glad I got that out today. I was worried I wouldn't get that in the video. Would the Yamaha Atmosphere also qualify with Maton, Cole Clark, or is it for it? No, that's good too. The Atmosphere is a tri-source system. It's a mic, a body sensor, and an undersaddle. The Maton is a dual source, a big mic and an undersaddle. The Cole Clark is a tri-source, mic, undersaddle, and body sensor. They're all, any system like that the guitar is built around with 2 or more pickups is usually very usable, if not excellent, because they're made for a purpose. And I also saw a statement this week from someone saying, maybe I'll just use a stage guitar. I won't use pickups anymore. And that is another option that you can go by. Maybe just buy a Gibson, a Martin, and a Taylor with no pickup that you love the sound of acoustically and a great microphone for a home recording. And then buy a Cole Clark for your gigs. That's not a bad idea. Ella Bags won't like me saying that, but that's just how I feel. That is a good way to go for some people. If you really can't find a pickup that you love the sound of, if you really want those side-mounted controls, if you really need that for a stage instrument, then get a stage instrument and put a hi-fi in your guitars because it is so low impact, or nothing in your guitars if you just want to have no cables or anything in that guitar at all, and just use it with a microphone. The problem with me is I don't really record with a microphone, so I like having pickups in guitars. So that's my problem. I could get a great sounding acoustic and never play it. And then my Cole Clark might sound not as good acoustic, but I never play acoustic anyway. I always plug it in. So it's definitely something to consider. Oh, that's cool, T. Thank you. Apparently the Catch was a restaurant where Taylor used to hold events for dealers to come and bid for limited editions. Restaurant is gone, but they kept the name. It's excellent. I like that. That's a cool story. I thought this had a notch option. It does not. I really think they should have added one. People are saying the tone is too dull at 50%. I found that too. I was running it on 100% all the time. So I personally think the tone could have just been set at 100% and either have no controls on that pickup to make it even more low impact, or that tone control could have been a notch control. Because both guitars that I've played need a notch control, so why not have it in that preamp? But I love, since the notch control on the guitar only has to be set once and you never touch it again, because it's just a one frequency that you lock into, I think it'd be amazing if you had a built-in notch that was hidden away as a pro feature. I really wish, that's my only criticism. I've been very positive about the system. I think it's very good. I'm not using it. I'm using the Anthem SL and the Cole Clark, and you know, that's fine. That's the truth. But it is a good system. It needs that external notch filter, in my experience, which is fine too. Many pickups do, to be fair. But something they could do that would bring them above the competition would be to add that notch filter to the controls. And I'd like to see that in a pro version in the future. Like I said, you may own a mixing console or a preamp right now where you already have a notch control and that's no big deal to you. But if you're the kind of person that runs out to open mic with no other pedals and the desk that they have at open mic doesn't have a notch, then the notch in the preamp would be excellent, especially with this style of pickup. The Taylor Grand Auditorium might suit you for strictly acoustic. You mean with no pickup system? I don't know. Let's see here. The GA, yeah. Yeah, so you can basically order these. Well, $6,000. Wow. You can order. Most Taylors have a lot of them have the streaky ebony, like everyone else does. Fender have it too. Blah 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 blah. That's a cool piece of wood. But most Taylors do ship with the ES2 built in. It would be interesting to order one without the ES2 and play it just fully acoustically. I don't really know lately if these pickups actually degrade the tone, but it's certainly something to mess with, to worry about. Cables can come loose. It can add a few ounces to your guitar, which can be noticeable, especially with the battery. You can kind of notice that, but not, not really. But it's a tiny amount. I guess my point was, an option is to look for guitars that, whether they have a pickup or not, you just love them acoustically. You love the guitar. You're not worried about using it out somewhere. And then finding a guitar, you just love the sound of it plugged in and you want to use it out. Keep the two things separate. In the same way, you wouldn't record an acoustic album with a Fender Stratocaster unplugged. Why not have a stage guitar for the stage and an acoustic guitar as a full acoustic or a very basic pickup like the HiFi or K&K or something, or nothing, whatever you want to do. I guess that was my point. All right, good stuff. So that was today's video. I don't know if I got a lot of... I'm not sure how much help I got with my modifying thing. I think the consensus was if you're keeping the guitar, you should modify it and make it how you want. And I think I agree with that. I think I got frustrated because I was thinking, well, there's so many stores now, there's so many websites, there's so much inventory now of guitars, and yet you still can't always find the guitar that's perfect for you without doing a custom order. And that's a bit I find that surprising because there are so many guitars out there. I think it's kind of crazy, right? Especially when you factor in the used market as well. But I really do believe that committing to a guitar is a good thing. You know, keep that guitar long term, commit to it, put time and money into it, make it how you want it to be, rather than constantly buying and selling and losing money that you never get back. And then you get a new guitar that then needs work doing anyway. Most guitars do need some kind of work, some kind of setup, some kind of change, some kind of fix, some kind of improvement anyway. At the end of the day, what you can't change on a guitar is the look and the weight very easily. So I think that's a good place to start. The neck shape, the weight, the look of it. Electronics, tuners, nuts, bridges, saddles, they can all be changed. You can do that. Jimmy says, what model Cole Clark do you have? What wood? I'll show you the one I have. I have the Angel 2, which is like their standard model. They have the Angel 1, 2, and 3. The 1 is the budget model, the 2 is the kind of standard model, and the 3 is the one with the abalone on it. Cole Clark, Angel 2. And I have Blackwood, and that's a very important thing, this Blackwood, because the Blackwood is the hardest wood, which makes it the toughest, the most feedback resistant, and if you're on stage, that's a good thing, right? That is, I think is this my guitar? No, it's not my guitar. My guitar is like this one we're going to look at now, but this isn't my guitar. This is very similar. So Blackwood is, this is Pitbull Audio, by the way, good shop. Blackwood is the hardest. That also means it's the least resonant. So that means it will take the knocks, the bangs, it shouldn't split as fast, it's tough wood. It won't move as much, it won't feed back, but because it doesn't move as much, it won't resonate like an OM28 does. Well, that's fine because we're using it for the stage. I do like the tone of these guitars, but you have to bear in mind they're not going to be your boomy, resonant Martin-style guitars. There are other woods that Cole Clark use that will be more like that, if that's what you want. So you can get other wood combinations as well. But this one and mine is the Blackwood, all right, all Blackwood back and sides and Blackwood top. And it does have a very tight sound. It's very tough. I think that's good. Mine has a few dings in it already. If it was a different kind of wood, it'd have a lot more dings in it. That's the problem, especially because it is satin finish. There's no gloss on there, so it's gonna, hasn't got anything to protect it, basically. And then the bridge and the fretboard is what they call sheet oak. These are Australian woods. And this is lovely. The fretboard on mine is all smooth and silky, but the bridge on mine, but the fretboard on mine is kind of smooth in places and rough in places, which bugs me, but it doesn't matter because it's the fretboard. It's not like you feel it, So that's fine. It's a very cool guitar, and it served me very well, and it's had many compliments. And one of the things that I try to do on my channel is hone in on those compliments and what people say about the equipment in real life. Because it's one thing for me to say, look, for example, I love this guitar. This guitar makes me want to play the guitar. It's a wonderful instrument. I love this thing. That's great. That's my opinion. But for me, there's so much more value when I can come on and say, over the last 12 months, I've had multiple compliments on the look and sound of my acoustic guitar at gigs. That is the truth. More so than any other pickup system. And we sometimes on here talk about, well, pickups are just pickups. They don't matter. The song matters. The singer matters. But at the end of the day, I have had many compliments on the sound of the guitar. And I've also had many nights where I just felt like I really was inspired by the sound of the guitar. It's a great system. I can't praise it enough. I did have some issues with mine lately, but they've sent me the part. Actually, the part I need has just arrived at my mailbox. So I'm going to put it in tonight. It's just the battery compartment. Worked a bit loose, and they already have had a fix for that. So to be honest with you, I was about ready to jump ship completely when I had problems at my gig. But I like the fact that I told the CEO, and he said, I know the problem. We've had this problem. We've dealt with it. We'll send you the part express. Sorry for the inconvenience. That means a lot to me. Mistakes happen, and they know what the problem was. So I'm going to replace that battery compartment and hopefully be back to full swing, because they did make a change a year ago to the system, about a year and a half ago, which in my opinion improved it a lot. And of course, with changes, sometimes we get problems. So there we go. Stay tuned next week to see what happens with that. I'm probably going to put that in tonight, and maybe my locking tuners that I bought from Sweetwater as well on that guitar, and start gigging it again. My biggest frustration with Cole Clark at the minute is you can't find them. You can't buy them. They're not in stores. So they're now distributing themselves in America, not through Korg. Supposedly that means we'll get more guitars. I haven't really seen that yet, so we'll see. I have an Eastman Frank Vignola. I met him. He's a nice guy. Where the side fret markers are difficult to see, kind of a dull grey against black. Often think of trying to improve visibility. Interesting. So you want to improve the visibility of the markers. Yeah, the dots on that strap behind me are not very visible either. But that's not really a problem yet. I think if there's something about the guitar that causes you a problem, you should try to modify it if it is a legitimate problem that's hindering the way you play, definitely. Some things, though, some things don't hinder the way we play. They just bug us, so we maybe get over it. But if you really need those dots figured out, then I would do it. But find someone talented to do it. With the quality control the way it is, you're probably committing to the guitar you like the look of. Yeah, I do think... I don't want to say quality control's gone down. I've had many problems over the years with all kinds of stuff. iPhones, guitars. You know, I look for issues. That's why I have a YouTube channel, right? I look for problems, and I don't want to say like I'm making up problems, but I am more aware of problems than maybe some others are. Some problems are serious problems, like when a guitar cuts out. That's obviously a major problem, right? And that's happened to me on many occasions before. But those things can happen. I read a post today where someone said, I hate digital mixers. My digital mixer stopped working. And then someone said, well, my analog mixer just stopped working. I've got to clean it. You know, there is no perfect with any of this stuff. So a digital pedal has no moving parts, so it has less to go wrong. But if it goes wrong, you can't fix it because you've got to go back to the manufacturer. Where an analog pedal has moving parts that can get dirty and need cleaning all the time. And if one fails, you can get someone local to replace it. So none of this stuff is 100%. All this stuff has pros and cons. Like I talk about Rain Song, carbon fiber guitars. You can leave it in the car all night. You haven't got to keep adjusting the neck. Well, there you go. Actually, I guess with that there is no con. But some people don't like carbon fiber instruments, so I guess that could be a con. But that's not a good one. But you know, all this stuff has potential to have something happen. It just depends on the thing, right? So I thought that was an interesting analogy this morning. How is the finish on the back of the neck? So the back of the neck is a satin finish on this series, and it's really nice. You know, the neck on these guitars is so different to any other acoustic that I've owned. Initially, I didn't like it, and it took me a while to get used to it, but you do get used to these things. And within a few months, I was really used to it. It wasn't a problem at all. I really believe with a lot of gear, it's what you get used to. And I think you must not play something new and just say straight away, I don't like it. You really have to give something new a few months to see if it really is a problem or not. Because I really think like the neck on an acoustic guitar, you can, if you only play the modern necks, they are great, but you get so used to that and you play something with a slightly different profile, you can think, well, it's not as good as the Martin. No, you just haven't gotten used to it yet. I really believe that. And with the Cole Clark, the plugged-in sound was so good that I didn't even care about the neck. I was loving the pickup. And so therefore, I played it and then I grew into the neck. And I'm not saying that I would choose that neck now over the Martin neck, but it certainly wasn't any issue. So there we go. Rex, how you doing, buddy? How's your Rain Song doing? Just spoke with John Robson about Eastman Les Paul style guitars and see that Music Villa has one in stock. Very nice. Are you going to get an Eastman Les Paul? Let me know. Talk about Rain Song. They've had several sales lately. Have you noticed that? Interesting stuff. So I have to check in with those guys one of these days and see what's happening. But yeah. So there we go. Some things to think about. And thank you for joining me on this Monday. Thank you for helping me think about these things. And I mean, I do all the time anyway, but it's nice to hear people's opinions and thoughts and experiences as well. Some of this stuff just comes out of the blue. You know, some of these, pardon the pun, some of these things, like I said, I've played guitar for 30 or so years, 25 years. And I've never even thought about some of the stuff that I've thought about the last few weeks. Some of this stuff just comes with time. And that can be a bad thing. In fact, if you're new to guitar, don't watch my videos, because I don't want to tell you that the bridge pins stick out and dig into your hand and you should get different style bridge screws on your Stratocaster. I don't want to have to do that. I want you just to enjoy the Stratocaster for what it is. But if you've been playing for a while like me and these things are bugging you, then I'm happy to tell you about some mods that you should do to your guitar. Oh dear. Yeah, but the one behind me was particularly frustrating because it started buzzing straight away after all that work was done. I was so ready just to sell it, but again, I decided not to. I added some relief to the neck. It seems okay. Next day it's buzzing again. Add some relief to the neck. Seems okay now. Been okay for a day or two. Maybe it's just got to settle in. So this is why you do want carbon fiber guitars. I'm going to take it for another setup on Wednesday. I think the action needs to go up slightly. I'll probably put too much relief in the neck now. So I think this could be it. And then if it's stable for a while, then I'll get the neck refinished. And then I think this is the Strat that I'm gonna hang on to. Thank you, my friend. Thanks for joining me. You know, it's without people here, it's kind of boring. You know, sometimes I go live and talk to myself, and it's just not the same. No, I'm kidding. I only go live on Mondays usually. So yeah, interesting day. So just to recap what we spoke about today, I've modified the guitar. I've got some more mods I want to do. I think that's a great way to go if you're happy with the overall instrument. I think that is a good way to go. I think it's frustrating, and I think in an ideal world we would just buy the instrument and it arrives on the doorstep and it's ready to go. But that doesn't happen. We usually have to change the string gauge, certain things about a guitar. That is normal. And that's just, you know, it's impossible to make every style of guitar out there. That's why there's a custom shop. But you're going to pay a lot of money for a custom shop guitar, unfortunately. And so modifying guitars is good. And I will say StewMac is great. I've made a mistake with StewMac. I keep ordering from there and paying the postage. If you pay $50 a year, the postage is free. So if you're going to go down this road, join StewMac. Get their 10% off and their free shipping. I've spent probably $100 on that stuff that I didn't have to if I'd done the membership. So I don't think I'm going to do it now because I've already ordered all the stuff, but in hindsight, I wish I'd done the membership. So just a little tip there. How many of the CS SC22s were supposed to be made? So I think with that, what they do is because it's a CS SC 2022, they made them for 2022 and then they stopped. I think that was the deal with that. Unless they're still making them because they were popular. I don't know. I wasn't that blown away with the one I had. I didn't think the finish was very good, you know, on the neck there. I showed it in the video. I didn't think it sounded any better than a good OM. The action is so low. The neck is so thin. Now, I said just now, maybe you have to play it for 3 months and you'll get used to it. Maybe that's true. I'm going to take my own advice. But they're the reasons that I didn't gel with it. And for that kind of money, to spend $8 grand on a guitar, it's got to be what you want, right? So I'm going to wait to see what they do next with those guitars in the future. But you're right, they are still making them. And hopefully the ones they're making now have got a higher quality than the one that I had. They probably do because they always tell you don't buy something brand new because things have to be ironed out. Like don't buy the first new MacBook Pro because the next generation they'll fix all the bugs with the first one. That happens with guitars as well. So I got one of the very first CS 2022 guitars that came through Sweetwater. I think I got the first one through Sweetwater. And it had some cosmetic issues. And maybe that's because I got the first one. Maybe now they're doing that more cleanly because they're more used to making the guitars. So let me know if you get one. I agree you pick up all the potential issues watching YouTube. I realize I have a little fret sprout on my Eastwood, so I need to do some filing. The Rain Song is still great. Yeah. Yeah, that's the danger. The danger with being this obsessed with the gear and watching videos constantly and talking about it constantly, it makes you more aware of the problems. That's definitely a downside. Having said that, it's got to be a good thing as well to be aware of problems when you're buying or selling guitars. And these are all, the one thing I'll say is don't be afraid of this stuff. I think I was afraid of this stuff for a long time. You don't have to be afraid of it. Like actually, I still wouldn't do it myself yet, but actually setups, filing fret ends, sanding necks, replacing tuners, adding string trees, adding pickups. These are not scary things. These are things that most people that are good at DIY can easily do. Don't be afraid of it. And if you are afraid of it, or you think someone else can do it better than you, then find someone excellent in your area and have them do it. Someone that you really trust. Well, that's what I did. I have a guy I go to, I really trust him. He does great work. If there is a problem, I go back to him. We sort it out. You need that. You really need that. What I wouldn't do is just buy a guitar and cross your fingers. You know, you do need to maintain these things, because even if you get a guitar, even if you get a Sir and it's been made for a year and it's John Sir himself has set it up and it's perfect and it plays like the best guitar in the universe, by the time they ship it to you, maybe in another country, the action will have changed. The wood will have moved. It's wood, right? So it has to be maintained. Unless you're getting a carbon fiber guitar that never moves, you have to factor these things in. You have to learn how to adjust the neck. You have to learn how to restring. You have to learn how to adjust your pickups. You have to learn these basic things and go from there. So I would not refinish the neck myself, but I would do basic setup adjustments and modifications, change the tuners, that kind of stuff. But anything where you're sanding or drilling, I'm still not comfortable doing it. I don't think I ever will be. Some people that watch my show are, and that's great. If you're not, just find someone that you trust who'll stand by their work. That's the biggest thing. Some people don't stand by their work and you end up in all sorts of troubles. So find someone that you trust that does work that you like, and if there's a problem, they'll work with you to rectify it. Yeah. T, I saw that video. I totally agree with you sending it back. Yes, I think you have to. I think when there's obvious issues with an instrument, I think it has to go back. I saw a custom shop recently, $8,000 with glue, Martin, with glue inside, running down that hardened inside the guitar, and shards of metal where they'd obviously sanded the frets in the finish of the fretboard. I'm sorry. The problem is that might be an amazing instrument. That might sound incredible and be a one-off. Maybe it's worth keeping at a discount at that point. But I don't think that's terrible, what I just said, the things I saw on those guitars. But where does it end and what happens next? That's what I'm worried about. Like, when quality starts to suffer, it will continue to suffer. And hey, I'm not perfect, by the way. I am not, and I'm not saying that guitars should be 100% perfect. But I do think my only concern is that prices are going up and up and up, as we all know. And I don't want to get into that, but that's a fact. Prices are going up. And quality is not going up. What you get for your money doesn't seem to be going up. And what I don't want to happen is I don't want to see quality going down. That's all. That's my business head. That's my YouTuber head. That's not the Aaron Short guitarist, musician, singer-songwriter head. That's the side of me that's thinking, I don't want to see quality decrease and money go up. So I will send the instrument back and say that's not acceptable. And I will put it in a video like I did with the custom shop, Martin. I will. With anything. And let's face it, some of this relicking and printing on guitar stuff, some of that is a way of hiding that stuff up. Because let's say the guitar behind me had some kind of cosmetic issue, you can blame it on the relicking. It's really ingenious. Or these printed tops, maybe some wood is so ugly, but they print on the tops at Martin now and you don't see that. So it's a way of using that wood. And I'm not against that, because we should use all the wood. We shouldn't throw wood away. That's not responsible. I don't think we're very responsible with wood anyway, with the amount of guitars that are being made. I can't talk about that because I buy so many and sell so many guitars. But we do have to do something. I also believe sooner or later, companies need to look at other materials. I think Rainsong are way ahead of the game. And I think Martin should be looking at building guitars out of carbon fiber. And if they can build one that sounds incredible, why not? You know, someone said the other day, Leo Fender would have built modern Strats right now. He wouldn't be building the one behind me. Leo Fender today would be using modern materials to make modern instruments. That's what he was all about, right? He wasn't about making just these for the next 200 years. So, one thing YouTube videos give you is an awful dose of gas. Well, remember this, T. Here's another thing. Many videos are made by people that are trying to sell you something. Now, I love Sweetwater, but obviously their videos are made to sell you the product. They're not made for fun and games. My videos are, I mean, I started out making them for fun and games, and I don't want to make videos where I'm selling you something. I'll sell you my t-shirt because I need some money to pay for the YouTube software, right? That's fine, and I'll take super chats and whatever. But I'm not making videos to sell you. I'm making videos to give you advice, tell you my experiences, hang out and have some friendship and just talk about stuff. But many videos are made to sell you the product. Now, I'm not saying that's evil, but just remember that when you're watching a video talking about a new guitar, have in the back of your mind, this is a commercial. This is selling me something. And even if it's not that, even if it's just like I did at the start of my video, playing the guitar to show you what it sounds like, remember that when you play it, you'll feel differently when you play it in the room, when you're holding it, when you're looking at it in the room. It'll be a completely different experience to YouTube. I really think YouTube should be used for fun and leisure and socializing. I really think YouTube should be hanging out, talking about stuff, meeting new people, enjoying the other person's new guitar day. Don't get sucked into, I must now own that same thing myself. It's easy to do, and sometimes we do it. I've done it a lot of times. But try to keep that in your back of your mind. Like, I'm going to watch this video and enjoy it, but I'm not going to go out and buy one immediately just because it sounds good in the video. All right? Just for your own wallet's sake, you have to think like that. If you had an opportunity to visit with Elvis Costello and Nick Lowe, what questions would you have for them? I'd probably ask them more about, I wouldn't ask them what pickup they like to use. I'd ask them about their songwriting for sure, because I'm a big fan of those guys. Great writers. And whenever I've seen Elvis Costello play live solo, I think he always plays the Telecaster anyway. I don't think he even played an acoustic. He may have done, but you know, that's not big. That's not important to him, really, is it? At one time, Martins were mainly sold at small shops, for the shop owner would do a good incoming quality check. They would accept or reject before a customer ever saw the guitar. I think stores still do that. You know, I'm sure that Sweetwater send guitars back. So you do wonder to yourself how these guitars even make it out of these factories. But I guess factories, commercial guitar builders like Fender and Martin, they can't trash every guitar with a slight speck of dust on it, right? They can't do that. And it's down to the dealer's discretion to whether they return them or not. Interesting. But yes, I agree. That's the thing with no internet. You have small stores, you go in the store, you have a glass of wine, you chat with the owner, they show you the guitars they've received and they've played themselves all day and they think are great. But you only get a few guitars to look at. With the internet, you go on there and see hundreds of guitars. And like I said, I've had a lot of guitars that I either had problems with or didn't like from Sweetwater, but at least you can just throw it in the box and ship it back and you're done with it. You get the money back quickly, you're done. The worst thing is some dealers I've dealt with have made that very difficult. You know, they find problems or they charge you. You have to pay the shipping both ways. I'm not saying you shouldn't have to do that, because why should they pay all that if you don't like the guitar? But, and actually I think Sweetwater do deduct the shipping, which is fair enough, like I said. But some people do make it more difficult. Some people don't make it more difficult, but it feels like it's more difficult. You know what I mean? You know what I mean by that? Like, I've never had a problem with that with Sweetwater. I feel like I'm at the I actually feel like I'm in Sweetwater trying the guitar to see if I want it. And I don't mean that in an abusive way. I don't think it's good to order a guitar every week and just send it back. And I think eventually they would cut you off. That's not right either. But we definitely should have that time to see if we really bond with the guitar. Like I said, I didn't bond with the guitar behind me. I almost sent it back. But I decided I like how it looks. I like how it sounds. I like the idea of it. I like the weight of it. I think I can modify those things. And I chose to do those mods. Now, I didn't make a video of it before. I'm going to make a video about the mods that I've done when I finish. I really should have done that along the way and documented the process, but I'm just going to talk about the things that I changed and why, and the whole process of upgrading it, how much that cost me to upgrade it. I think that'll be an interesting video. Hi Sergio, good to see you. I communicate with different people in English, but it's fully understandable only when the topic is familiar. I get it. And T says, that's why I'm here on Monday night. Yeah, I do that too. I watch some other streams. I'm not doing it as much anymore because I've got, back busy with gigs again, and I haven't got time to make as many videos as I want, let alone watch other YouTube channels. But I do watch some other channels, and occasionally, and I watch to get information. Like I watch Dr. McFarlane because we're friends, and I find it entertaining. I just like hanging out with him. I like watching him chat and show off what he's bought and explain why. And often I don't agree with him, but that's okay too, because that's the whole nature of the beast, right? And I think that stuff is just really fun. So try not to get, try to get in that train and not the train of I'm just going to buy everything. I can't talk. I've been there. I've done that. I'm trying not to do that anymore. But it's a dangerous cycle. And like I said, there's a lot of companies and stores and channels that are there to sell you something. They're businesses now, more so than just presenting information. I'm not going to name names, but I'm sure as you watch channels with that in your mind, you'll figure that out for yourself. All right, I better wrap it up. It's coming up to 2 hours. It's been a lot of fun. I enjoyed doing a little bit of playing today, not as much as I'd like to, but that's great. I'm going to go. I've got some things to do, and I'm going to fix the battery on the Cole Clark. I'll let you know next week if I had any more problems with the guitar. I think that will be it, from what I'm told anyway. And I might put the locking tuners on it as well. I'm kind of tempted to try that on an acoustic guitar. I think that would be cool. Rex says, we've been invited to travel to Iceland to meet up with Elvis and Nick. Wow. I have an old 45 from Rockpile with Dave Edmunds and Nick Lowe playing some Everly Brothers tunes, a couple of Gibson J200s. Yeah, Elvis Costello likes his Gibsons. I know that. Yes, I've seen him a few times. I saw him in London years ago. I've seen him live, solo acoustic. He used tracks in the middle. That was really cool. I've seen him with his band. I haven't seen Nick Lowe, but I like that song. I was asked to play that song, Rome Wasn't Built in a Day, at one of my shows, and I play that whenever the guy walks in. So I am definitely a fan. Elvis Costello is an amazing writer. Rosanna, thanks for moderating. I'm sorry there's not more trolls these days that you can eject from the chat, because it's very boring for you. I know you like it when we get the trolls in here causing drama and stress. No, I'm just kidding. No one likes that. And it's nice that it's been quiet around these parts lately in regards to the trolls. Very good stuff. I guess YouTube have got more filters. Now I've said that, we'll get trolls all the time. So I'm going to shut up. All right, thanks for watching. Have a great week. I thought it was something I was going to remind you of for this week, but I don't think there is anything. Can't believe we're coming up towards June now. That's absolutely crazy. So if you're new here, subscribe and ring the bell. I don't know when I post videos lately, so if you subscribe, ring the bell and turn on notifications, if I do post a video or go live randomly, it will tell you that I've done that, and you can come and join in. But I'm always here Mondays at 4. I like to hang out and chat about random things. Rosanna says, no one likes tolls or trolls. They don't like tolls, and they don't like trolls. I'll take one more question from Sergio. See, out of water. What do you think about the Boss GT1000 Core as universal device for the pedal board? I haven't tried it. The Boss stuff sounds very good. It's affordable. A lot of the Boss stuff is kind of antiquated. They don't have good editors and things, which annoys me a little bit. But the Boss stuff is good. It does sound good. The GT1000, let me just look at it. I think I know what you're talking about. Yeah, I mean, I would get that probably as a standalone device. I don't think I'd put that on a pedal board. But you can do, of course. You can do that if you want to do that. I would just keep it compact myself. I haven't played this one. I've heard good things about it. So, yes, I would look at it. I personally like the Quad Cortex because it has those mic inputs, and I sing and use mics sometimes. But if you only play guitar, I mean, it's really hard to recommend something now because the GT1000, the Kemper Stage, the Quad Cortex, the Head Rush, the Helix, the Fractal FM9. I mean, I can't really help you with that. You're gonna have to make a decision and go with it. But I've not tried the GT1000, but I've not heard anything bad about it. I've only ever heard good things about it. I just kind of wish they had a more modern interface on their gear in general. End of show. Yep, sorry, Sergio. What you can do though is when I end the stream, you can just watch it again from the beginning and just pretend that I'm live, right? Cheers, John. Yeah, like I said, Sergio, no problem. It's live, but when I end the stream, you can watch it again. So just go back and watch from the start, and then write down your questions and put them in the comments. So rather than chat live, put your questions in the comments and let me know them again next week, and we can talk about them next week. No problem. All right, so like I said, please do me a favor, subscribe, ring the bell. Really helps me out. I look forward to seeing you next Monday, if not before. And if you're subscribed and ring the bell, you'll see if I'm around during the week. And if not, take care and have a great week. I'll see you next time. And if you haven't already, order a Soundhole Sniffer t-shirt, which I wore today, and you can't even see because it helps out my channel. And let me see if I can just show it to you before I go. Oh. There we go. Thanks for watching. Take care. Bye-bye.